everybody. This is Dr. Michelle Pierce Mobley, and I want to welcome you to the Voter Series, Tabernacle Baptist Church. And we are so fortunate to have one of Tabernacle's own, Cheryl Blackburn Ryan, who is an expert in the subject of voting because she's been working not only with one of the area parties, but with Get Out the Vote. And I was amazed and actually impressed with Cheryl because every morning I would see her on Facebook encouraging people to get out and vote. So I just had to have Cheryl on the show. So welcome, Cheryl.
Well, thank you very much. I am so happy to be here. Yeah, I think that voting is a passion, has been a passion. I remember when I was 18 years old and I had, and I, had already, I was in college, down at Spelman at the time. And I had to do an absentee ballot. And I remember my mom sending that to me. And, my first vote was for Jimmy Carter. I was upset because they didn't win, but still, I do remember that, clearly. So yeah, it's been a passion of our family. My mom had always, had always worked with the Democratic Party. My uncle, Robert C. Blackburn, was one of the first Black senators for the state of Ohio. So it's always been something that has been in my blood and in my family's blood. So it's something that, I enjoy. My nieces have even been doing it since they were like youngsters. So, yeah, it's always been something we, as a family have already had just loved to do.
Well, you are picking up the mantle, and I certainly remember Sally being there when you would walk into the county building. So it's a pleasure to be able to have you continue her legacy. That she would be really proud of that. I absolutely know she would be. So we're going to ask you some questions today because I'm sure there's still some people out there who have not taken advantage of the early voting. Okay. So first of all, you're a member of Get Out the Vote team. What is that team actually charged with doing?
Well, it's actually just it's kind of what the moniker is just Get Out the Vote. It's something that I've done, that I've been a part of. Michelle Roberts is someone that has that for years has worked with people to, just get out the vote. Willis Blackshear was also a part of that, Willis Blackshear Sr. So it's always been something that, that is general. It was, before the whole early voting process had started, we would do it on the day of the vote. And that would just mean, getting people in cars, having people, passing out literature, doing all that type of canvassing. So that's kind of what we, have always done, and it's just called Get Out the Vote.
Okay, wonderful. Well, let's start with, if I've got somebody out there that's been watching all this information about get out there and vote, and they haven't voted in 20 years, what would you say to them?
What I would say is, if you had not registered by October 5th, you're a little late. That's first what I would say. So I would hope that, that we had been talking about and having those discussions early, in the process, because, voter registration did end on October the 5th, 2020. So, but if, I ran across a gentleman that, he had registered, he was, in his 40s, and he said, that this was a vote, he had not voted. And, it was something that he had to make sure he did. Because, people are feeling that, this particular time, it's historical. In that we are, in times that are not, not as we've had before. So people are voting like their lives depend on it.
Now, I know every morning when I see you, you're wearing your mask, and I know that we are in the middle of a pandemic, and obviously that's why we're doing Zoom, and a lot of people are doing these kinds of things to protect themselves. But what would you say to someone if they're coming down to early vote and they're not wearing a mask? What's going to be happen to them? Are they going to be turned away?
No. If you're a registered voter, you can vote. However, most people that are coming down have masks. If they don't have a mask, we are providing masks. We are also providing sanitizer as well as gloves. So, if they don't feel comfortable coming down and they don't, have a mask, then we will provide that for them. But, I would say, we might have, in the last 2 weeks, I might have had 2 people that didn't have masks. However, they asked for one and we supplied it for them.
Good,
And
good.
then
That positive peer pressure then. Good.
absolutely, it's like everybody, even those that, that are, the mask, that are against mask. And you see those folks coming through, they put their mask on, but it's kind of like, it's one of those kind of things, as soon as they come out, they rip it off. But people are being compliant, and because, it's all about helping, it's protecting yourself, and it's more protecting the other people that are around you.
Wonderful. Thank you for that. Can I bring my children with me?
Absolutely. I have seen so many children come, little kids, and what's beautiful is the little children are wearing their mask. So you ask that question, the little kids are wearing their mask.
Good.
And
So that's not an excuse not
no,
to come
it's
to
not
the
an
poll
excuse at
because you
all.
don't have a sitter. So audience, do you hear us? Bring children.
Absolutely. And people are getting their children involved, and those first time voters, you see the young people coming and they're first time voters. And those folks, they'll as they're coming through the line, they'll say, this is this person's first time voting. And, when they come back out, we applaud them. So,
Wonderful.
So it's really a great, it's just a beautiful sight to see the young people. And I've seen so many young folks coming out to vote. The other, on the other end, it's humbling seeing, the people that they might be physically challenged, but they're coming out to vote, and that's really beautiful. Older people are coming out to vote, and they're masked up. They have their shields on and they have their gloves on, and, and they're just voting, like people in their 90s are coming out to vote. So it's beautiful.
Amen. Okay, let's talk about how I should be prepared. When I'm coming out to the polls, can I have notes with me, or is there anything that I'm prohibited from bringing to the polls when I walk in there and I get ready to cast my ballot?
Well, the one thing that you cannot have is the particular person that you're voting for. You can't have any of that kind of paraphernalia on. What people usually do, if they have a t-shirt on that has the individual that they're voting for, they are just asked to turn it inside out, or if they have a button on, they just ask to take it off. However, you can, what we provide is, I'm working for the Democratic Party. So what we provide is a Democratic slate card. And that basically has all of the information on if you're doing a down ballot vote. So it has the judges for Montgomery County, because that's, where I'm particularly working is the Montgomery County Board of Elections. The and the other party also has their own sheet as well.
Okay.
So you can take that in. Now, if you have your own little cheat sheet, you can take that in with you as well.
Okay.
You are allowed to take your cell phone. So if you have the information on your cell phone, which a lot of people have already done, they will have it downloaded on their cell phones, and they'll, say, hey, I already have it on my phone. So, so that you can, absolutely, you take your cheat sheets in with you.
Good. So that helps people prepare, so they know.
Absolutely. And people are coming prepared.
Okay. I heard that this is going to be one of those elections, an election of patience. So people should be prepared to wait. What are the wait times? What have you experienced since you've been at the county poll site?
Well, the day one, 8 o'clock in the morning, long line. Lines take about 20 minutes, and that's what I tell people. They're not long at all. It takes about 20 minutes. Now, yesterday, which was Friday, October 16th, that day we were steady. So, and I think, and what's going to happen is, as we get closer and closer, we will have, you will have a line, but just be patient. I've had people bring their chairs, they bring their water, they bring their coffee, or what have you. But again, the wait time is only about 20 minutes. The county, the Board of Elections have done a beautiful job with getting people in and out, because again, we're in a pandemic. You don't want, people just standing around. So, the other precautions that are being taken are, you are 6 feet apart. There are things on the ground that give you, spots on the ground that give you an idea of where you should be standing. I was telling my husband this morning that, or this evening that, that I was a line facilitator. So I think, and what prepared me for that was, my 30 years in retail. It's like when I was with Gap Inc., as an executive there, it's about, I would go around to the stores, particularly on Black Fridays and also on the flip-flop day. So that dollar flip-flop day definitely prepared me for getting people in line and also being that hype person, because when people are standing in line, you need somebody that's going to give them that energy to just be patient and wait.
Yes. Wonderful. The line police.
Yeah. Facilitator.
So what happens if I'm one of those last minute people and I think, okay, I'm going to come down here and I'm at the back of that line and you're scheduled to close? Do you cut off the lines at some point? Should I still come on down anyway? If I see that long line, what happens?
Voting ends at a specific time, but as long as you're in line at the time that it's ending, then you are safe. Okay. If that makes sense. Yeah. So, right now, so as far as this past week, it was 8 to 5. And as long as you were in line by 5 o'clock, then, they're letting you go ahead and vote.
Wonderful.
So
now, what if I need assistance? Because you talked about that. So if I'm in, say, a wheelchair, or if I can't stand, are there accommodations? Do I need to tell somebody in advance, or does somebody see that when I get there?
What happens is we, there is someone, the county has their security people that are there. And if they see someone that is in line, that they basically just have them go, out of line, and they escort them to the elevator, and they're able to just go right down.
Wow. Okay.
So that's how that's working out. And
it's another excuse.
Absolutely. It helps people that have those challenges. Absolutely.
Wonderful. Now, what type of ID is acceptable so that I'm prepared when I'm getting ready to go downtown to the county building? What should I have?
You need your a driver's license or a state ID.
Okay, and do all my forms of ID, do they have the acceptable forms? Is there any form that I don't have to have a photo on it, or is a photo?
You need to have your signature and a photo.
Okay.
So you do need to have that.
So no expired driver's licenses. I need to have current documents.
You need to have your IDs current. Yeah.
I'm clearing all this up for our folks because we're going to go
back. That's right.
And she's telling you, don't take any expired documents.
Right. And the other thing is, if you have those kind of questions, you can go to voteohio.gov, and those questions will be answered for you.
Thank you. Can we get that again?
Yeah, it's voteohio.gov.
Wonderful. Okay,
and
thank you.
Also, ohio.gov will also give you the same information. Vote Ohio is just a shorter link. And there's, there are organizations that are out there that will, or vote.org is another one that you can go to that'll give you the information. And you just put in the state that you live in, and it'll have all the information there for you.
Okay, that is wonderful information. And I'll make sure that we put that on the screen so that people can see that. So what happens, I've got my, I'm in the line, I've got my list, I've gotten to the machine, and I make a mistake. What do I do? Do I have to live with that mistake? If I make a mistake before I leave, what do I do?
Okay, so what you will do is, if you have an opportunity, number one, you hit the end button, right?
Right.
When you're right. So just don't do that. What I would suggest is go back over your ballot. If it's going to take you a minute, do it. Because again, we are voting for our lives depend on it, and they do.
Yes.
So, go back over your ballot. If you make a mistake, if you say, maybe I don't want to hit that button, or I don't want to vote for that person, then just go back, because you can. There's a forward and a back, so you can just go back and, kind of retrace your steps, if you will.
Wonderful, wonderful. This is great information. So don't hit end.
Yeah, don't hit end. You'll come to the end of it, and it'll say, would you like to print your ballot? Okay. And instead of saying, yeah, I'm going to print my ballot, you just say, let me go back and review what you've done. Just like with any other kind of test, you want to make sure that you're, reviewing your work.
Wonderful. Okay, let's see. Now, this is, I think, a big question. What happens? There's been so much talk about mail-in ballots.
Right.
And people may be getting antsy that their mail-in ballot isn't going to make it.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens if I mail that ballot? I'm now watching the news and I'm thinking, oh, that ballot's probably not going to make it. I'm going to go in here and I'm going to go to the polls and try to vote, even though I know there's a mail-in ballot in transit to the polling location. What's going to happen if I show up and I say I want to vote when I know that I've mailed in a mail-in ballot?
Well, you can't vote twice, not like someone has said. Can't do that. So what you're going to do is you're going to track your ballot. And again, voteohio.gov gives you, there is a link there where you can track your ballot. And that's what you're going to do. If there is a mistake that you've made or if there is an issue with your ballot, they're going to contact you. So again, as long as you're tracking your ballot, I had a lady yesterday, same situation. She, wanted to make sure that she was with her daughter. And she said, well, I went ahead and mailed mine in, but I'm bringing my daughter down. And I tracked my ballot. So I know it's en route. So it does work.
Okay.
You just have to be patient. But the biggest thing here is do it early. If you've gotten that ballot and you've gotten your and you want to cast it by mail, do it early. Don't wait till the last minute. Now is the time. Don't wait till November 2nd. Don't wait till November 1st, which happens to be my birthday. Don't wait till then. Had to get that in there. But you want to make sure you're doing it as early as possible. Even with the early voting, everybody, right now people are encouraged to early vote. Come out. It's an easy breezy process. It doesn't take long. Fortunately, we've had some warm days. You're in the garage. You're in the Montgomery County parking garage, so you don't have to be concerned about the elements. And the way that the lines are working, there is one way in that we're taking people, and they are going out, the other, in the opposite direction, basically. So it's, it's an easy process.
So very
it's really easy.
Process.
It is very organized. Absolutely.
Now, we talked about bringing our information in. I think just for the benefit of our audience, you can vote for either party when you come to Montgomery County. There's no restriction on who you vote for. We're just trying to encourage people to get out and vote.
Absolutely. This is a general election, so it's not a primary. So, yes. On that, on your, you can vote for anybody you want to, that's on the ballot. But yeah, so, either party, you're able to vote for the judges. And again, people think, president, but please, be mindful of, of voting for your judges, for, either party, whatever party you choose. But the judges make the decisions. Your sheriff makes the decisions, your treasurer, but make sure, again, this presidential election is extremely important, and we want to make sure that we are, casting those votes. But we also want to make sure that you're thinking about your community as well, and you're thinking about what you want to see as far as changes in your community. And you can make those changes by being mindful of those judges and those state representatives, those Congress people that are running.
Those are excellent, excellent points. And I'm going to give you the last word. I just want to thank you because I know that you're an expert in the field. And I just want everybody to continue to encourage Cheryl because she's out there in the elements in the morning encouraging people to get out and vote. And so you've been very effective. And I just want to thank you for joining us on our voter education series. I'm going to give you the last word.
Well, again, as I've been saying, and as I say every morning, you guys, it is imperative that you are getting out to vote. This particular election is critical. You can see for those people that decided not to turn out for whatever reason in 2016, or just not to cast their votes in 2016, you see what's going on now, particularly with the Supreme Court. We are being, our particular rights are being, taken away from you. So you want to make sure, again, that you are out there, that you are voting. And what I said, I think I said a few days ago was, come in couples, come in triples, come in quadruples, bring your whole family, take that final picture, If you're Greek, wear your Greek letters, just come out and vote, wear your school colors, whatever you want to do. But, again, come out, vote. It is critical.
Hey, I think that's a challenge. You should challenge. I'm going to challenge my Delta sisters to stroll to the polls.
Baby, they've been out. And they have been out, and they have been in all regalia.
Wonderful.
Absolutely.
Thank you very, very much, Cheryl.
Thank you, Michelle. I appreciate you, Dr. Michelle, for asking me to come on.
Have a great, great evening.
Okay, you too, my dear. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.